I got to tell you this story. And this is what Nick Cannon failed to do. They brought me into the office one day and they drew a circle. They told me to cool it on the Farrakhan stuff.
Really?
On the air. Yeah, I wasn't on the air talking about, oh, Mr. Farrakhan going to do this and we're going to do that. I wasn't saying anything. You told me to be strong and just say what I wanted to say. I was getting ratings, you know what I'm saying? And he drew a circle, brother, on a piece
Wow.
of paper. And he drew a line through it and he put like maybe 12 dots on one side and then he put maybe three on the other side. And he put the paper up to me and said, which one do you want to eat with, the masters or the classes? I was like, oh, shit. And so Minister Farrakhan was coming to Dallas because we had a million more movement. I said, my man ain't going to come to town and I ain't going to say shit. So I got on there. I said, hey, Farrakhan be here talking at so-and-so Baptist Church twice. That's in October, but they already had it in their mind what they were going to do to me to humiliate me. And so they took me off the air, and then they didn't let me out of my contract, and they gave me the keys to the van. I had to drive around giving away prizes during the Steve Harvey
What? So they were treating you like a promotion, a promo tech?
show. Yeah, I was a promo king. I was a high
Wow.
paid pro. I was a high paid promo king in America, but brother, they had me in that thing, and I had to go to pick up them keys, and Skip Murphy and all them was in the other. I had to go by the K104 uh, window, go get the keys to the van. And
Wow.
my morning crew, they was on the air with Skip. The people that I brought to Dallas, they was on the air, but I was the only one that wasn't on the air. So they tried to punish me
So okay.
for being a friend of Farrakhan.
So do you think that your views, definitely believing in what Farrakhan says, uh,
But I was
has
just being
hurt
a
has hurt
strong,
your has,
strong. Well, I'm gonna answer that question. I was being a strong black voice that they
right,
told me to be.
right.
Now I have to give you the backdrop, and I'm not saying this to brag or boast about salary or anything, right?
Mhm.
My wife is my witness. This is who I am. So they were gonna start me off at like 225 when I first got there, right? And I said to them, I said, look, I'm in the Nation of Islam. I'm with Minister Farrakhan. Is that gonna be a problem me going there? This is before I even signed the contract.
Wow.
And they said, no, uh, no, we just want you to come here and get some ratings. I said, okay, fine. I said, now what nigga would do that to tell them that you were Farrakhan before they're gonna pay you,
Your
225?
money before you get a quarter out the deal. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's how I came in, and I went out just as strong. I didn't let them punk me, man. And so that's what I'm most proud of, even though I suffered, brother, for that.
Yeah.
And probably to this day, I have probably been looked over and put on the shelf according to the industry because of who I'm affiliated with.
Yeah.
Because back in 2017, when they had the riots in Charlotte, they plastered me all over CNN and Fox News and all these major networks
Mhm.
talking about boycotting Charlotte because they had killed a black man, Keith Lamont Scott. When we had the riots in Charlotte, you know about
Right.
that, right?
Mhm.
And I had a brother, man, at Radio One. I'm saying, man, look, I was the number one DJ in Charlotte. I can't get on the radio. The people that I got in radio is now running the radio station, and I can't even get a part time gig. And the brother came and told me, he said, look, we wanted to have you on, man, but our management said he is absolutely not to come on this radio station. And I looked at him like, what? And I'm out in the back of my mind, I said, I knew it was something. I knew it. Look, the people when I worked at CBS Radio with Bill Shaning, who was the market manager, I tell you to count the money that you made. Man, we made them millions of dollars, over $100 million while I was there on morning drive. And this, sorry, this man told me to fill out an application. That's like Terry telling you to fill out an application, you know what I'm saying, and you wanted to get back to doing something on the box.
Wow.
I said, wow, this is deep, man. So yeah, man. So that's me, man. That's me.
Any regrets with that? Because you're right.
Absolutely
Because
not.
your strong views can sometimes stop a career. And there's been several
Absolutely
people
not.
whose careers have been stopped for various
Yeah.
reasons.
Because I promise you, I am not a forsaken black man. I promise you I'm not. And so whatever they think, you watch how I come out of this thing. I'll be the winner.
Okay.
But all of them are sitting on the sideline watching me. You believe that.
So what do you think now with all that's going on with COVID, with George Floyd? Where are we headed for Black America at
Man,
this point to you?
if we don't get over being cowards and spineless black people,
Mhm.
you ain't gonna never have nothing. You ain't gonna never have nothing, man. Like I said, we've given the government of America enough time to do right by us. How long? You only get this one
So
moment
what's the
in time.
solution? So what's the solution? Like you said,
Solution
yeah,
black people need to do for themselves. They just what you did, just what I did. But we need to more people to agree because everybody's not going to agree. Only the like-minded of us are going to agree, and that's enough to get the thing going. Because our children cannot be talking about the same stuff that we talking about. Okay, so now you talking about building up generational wealth because it's all about you're not begging people for an opportunity.
right.
Because if you got your own stuff, I'm a free black man. I can go and come. I ain't got to go to your job. Think about this, man. This the whole educational system now due to COVID-19 has been exposed because now you can't go to school. So now the parents at Harvard saying, "Well, why I got to pay $50,000 for my child to do a Zoom meeting? I got to pay y'all 50 grand." And most of the millionaires never even finished, college or anything
Right,
like that. I
right,
think it's overrated, especially now. I can get on YouTube and have a better curriculum than people going. I mean, look, I work at sometimes I go over and volunteer. Well, I call it volunteer because what they pay me is a volunteer salary. But I go over to Carolina School of Broadcasting, brother, and they tell me, man, you come in one day and taught us more than we get for the whole damn year. And they paying 16 grand per student.
wow.
I'm like, shit, I need some of that. You know what I'm saying? I can teach y'all what I know. Look, if me and you just taught what we know, think how many great radio personalities we can produce. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the type of thing, man. We give too much of our energy, our soul, our minds to white people and keeping their world going instead of building our own world. That's intelligent. That's not racism. That's not being mean. That's like,
Most people
you
will hear
know,
what you're saying and it will come across to you as separatists and racist and mean and all those things when they hear it.
wow.
You saying, hey, y'all need to get your stuff straight, meaning people of color, and start, you know, doing your own thing. It is,
Right.
and somebody else will misinterpret that conversation as you saying you got to pull away from white folks and
Yeah. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. Everybody else has so much and we have so little. Why are you concerned with what somebody thinks? That's so cowardly to me that I feel sorry for the way I'm saying it to them. It's offending them, but they got everything. And then you go back to your shack on the other side of town and live where everybody else live good. You know what I'm saying? Just like, it's just look at Acres Homes and where you in Houston, man. It's a whole
absolutely,
black community, right?
yeah.
Let's build up Acres Homes and make that into we could have a Best Buy in Acres Homes. You can build up and everybody move into an area and build up our black neighborhoods. I mean, they do it on the exclusive sides of town in every city. What has been done to Charlotte is they bulldoze thousands of black people's homes down to build uptown Charlotte, where the Panther Stadium used to be the black hospital because you can go to the white hospital. Why are y'all concerned with what they think about what y'all trying to do for yourselves and your children? That's crazy to me. Think about it, man. If you 55 years old, like I am, you're not. The lifespan of a black person is like in their late 70s. What are you doing? Worrying about what somebody think. It's over with in a minute. And now we got to get ready for the next generation of our children so they won't have to beg and go to school, get a resume, and go to somebody's job so they can tell them, no, I ain't gonna give you no job. No, we ain't gonna do this. No, we ain't gonna give you no loan. No, no, no. Then they go back and sit on their mama's couch talking about somebody ain't gonna give them a job like a child.
Mm.
That's crazy to me.
If you had your way, three things that could instantly start helping Black America, what would those three things be to get them on the
Well,
course of going into the future?
well, first we got to repent. We have to repent for our failure to do what God has asked us to do. And that's one, live a moral and righteous life. There is no success, and you're not going to build nothing without repenting and asking the God of creation to help you because He's the only one that can do it.
Mm,
You just got to be a willing participant in your own salvation in order to get what you want. And then enough of us can agree because it's only, like I said, the like minded have to agree that this is the right thing to do. Where we are right now in America, for the next 100 years, it would take you to start to unravel the slave minded thinking of our people. So it ain't going to happen overnight. So when people ask the question, well, what can we do? We need to start the process of unraveling the mind of a slave.
mm,
So that's the first thing you need to do. Then enough of us have to agree that we're going to pool our resources and be an example for other people that we can build an economy. Your brothers and sisters, they run Africa. They got countries over there, all black countries. Why can't the most educated black people in the history of the world that got college degrees and Cadillacs and all these different things that we have at our disposal? Why can't we be an example for the rest of the world that this is how you build an economy? Because since we are a nation within a nation of 40 to 50 million black people, we can solve our own problems. We can build our own schools. Think about you're being forced to go back to school because you don't have no other alternatives. If we had a black school, black colleges, and black things that we own and control, we can make up our own rules.
wow.
That's the problem I have that we think that we can't. Why can't you be in control for one time? And the third thing is the knowledge of self, which produces the love of self, the love for your brother and sister. When you see your black brother and sister, your heart must go out to them because we all are in the same boat. We suffered greatly to come over here, and our ancestors, what they suffered, don't forget about them. Forget about your grandmother and your great grandmother and your grandfather and all them that was, they didn't have nothing. And now you have something and you still not doing anything coming off of the shoulders of them. They would be ashamed to see us living like this, still groveling and begging when we have enough. But they had enough. They had more than what we have now, and they didn't hardly have nothing.
Mm.
And so that's where I feel, man. I mean, I don't apologize for that. Even my white friends and people that know me, I don't change my language for nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a child. I'm not a little boy looking for somebody's approval. You know what I'm saying? I just can't do it. I just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I can talk to anybody with respect. I respect all human beings, but I'm not going to be a child and acquiesce and try to dumb myself down to go along to get along. That go along to get along stuff has gotten us in deep trouble. And even in the radio industry, when I talk to my radio friends, it's a shame that with all of the high caliber radio executives that nobody has thought to team together to own one radio station or a chain
Mm.
of them like Radio One. That's crazy to me, to be
What's the
serious.
next move for Mr. BJ Murphy? I know you're doing your thing. I saw on Facebook you doing this thing, the Bomb Charlotte. They have a
Yeah,
radio streaming platform. Tell me about that. And is that the next move for you? I know you got your hands in a lot of different things, but what's the
yeah,
focus
that's the next
point
move,
at this
man.
point?
We got to, yeah, we got to be serious, man. We got to be serious about. My vision has always been that everything is equal online. So a streaming radio station that think about what you used to do. How you the community man. Everybody know Mad Hatter, and they miss you. They're looking for you. You're the only one that had the mind and the heart for the people to bring them on the air to talk about issues and things we needed to get done. You gave them a platform, and now we can't do it on commercial mainstream radio, but we could do it on streaming. And so I say that if everybody got their phone in their hands, why don't we build our own network? It's like we got our own station, like you said, without the towers, without station go off the air. We ain't got to deal with none of that.
Mm.
God has equaled the playing field for us. Steve Jobs has equaled the playing field. The device of the iPhone and these they're liberating tools. You can't tell anybody no they can't be on television or radio or even have a blog, a newspaper.
Yep.
And so these devices are the inspiration and the liberation tools of the world.
But isn't that
And
also
we
the
have
downfall of those industries as well? I mean, the same thing that you say that has liberated and is given the individual human beings like yourself and myself that opportunity. At the same time, those same things, it seems like it's destroying those things in which we've come from as well. You know?
some of the
Yeah,
traditional
mainstream.
media.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, your traditional media, that's over with. That the game is up now. But but radio will always be there. Radio's not going anywhere. I mean, radio is a tool. I mean, they're gonna have to catch up. But everybody's like they said, they got their devices in their hand. I got this in my hand, and most people have like two or three phones. You know what I'm saying? And so the connected car, I get it. If I can get in my car and listen to the Mad Hatter Morning Show like I always have, and all I gotta do is get in, hook up my Bluetooth to it, and I'm riding to wherever I go for 20, 30 minutes on my commute, and that ain't changed.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm probably getting a better show from him because he's free now to really do what he want to do and say
I can
what he
tell you
want to
love
say.
your freedom that you have. You're loving this
I
freedom
wouldn't,
that you have.
I wouldn't trade it, man. I listen. The type of the the amount of money that I make right now, only God is patching things together for me. But I wouldn't trade it for a moment because on the other side is what I'm looking for. But I'm patient and I'm willing to go through the door. Like Steve Harvey said, when you jump off the cliff and you wanna fly, it doesn't mean that you're not gonna hit no rocks.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Until you start hit a couple of rocks and then you start flying. A lot of our people are not willing to go through that. A lot of DJs are still living in the fantasy world of the old radio days. And man, look, when they getting ready, there was an article today. iHeartRadio is talking about how the COVID-19 has made them rethink how they do business. They're going to get rid of all this real estate. So they got 150 some buildings. They say we're going to get rid of these things because everybody been doing their shows from home. We
yeah,
can save millions of dollars. And when Liberty Media takes over iHeart, you probably only have one live DJ in all these stations because they also own Sirius XM. They're going to turn these into music, pure play music, voice track, everything. There'll be no live stuff. So
where does that
this
lead
is
the
where
community, real quick? Where does that lead the community when you
oh,
do that? Where does that leave us? Where does it lead the content? Where does it lead telling the people about the information that they need to hear and
it
giving them
drives them to
perspectives?
what you're doing with the station there. You're gonna you're gonna make it happen with your programming, and it leads everybody back to in the arms of the streaming stations. You know what I'm saying? Where people can have that what you call hyper local media, where they're creating their own media in their own hometown, and you just got to drive everybody to the stream
Yes, sir.
and do the same thing, just like the studio you saw that we got set up. What's the difference?
It was
Except
nice.
we're
That's
just
a nice
the
studio
streaming.
y'all got too. It looked really, really nice.
Yeah, Easy Ice did that. That's all his brainchild. It's all his creation. He designed it and everything. I'm just tagging on to help him with his vision.
Mhm.
But yeah, man. I mean, this is where it is, man. I'm really happy and I'm excited when I get up every day. I thank God that I can do whatever I want to do every day.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I have some people that I do business with, but I'm at home with my family.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Where
so
can
I,
they
I love
where
that. I
can they
wouldn't
see
trade it.
all your stuff? Because I want people, if they've never checked out BJ Murphy, the podcast and all that stuff, and how they can follow you if you're on social media. I know there's some guys
Yeah,
like they ain't into Instagram and all that, but I think you got to
yeah.
put your foot into a little bit of everything.
Okay, so I have my 20-minute morning show, my podcast. You can catch it on any of the podcasting platforms. My website is called 20minuteshow.com. And I have my other interview podcast. It's called thebjmurphyreport.com. And then I'm streaming every morning on like 5 or 6 radio stations. And then you got my social media, BJ Murphy Show on Facebook and Instagram, BJ Murphy Media, and on Twitter at BJ Murphy Show.
Still proud of you, man. And I
Yes,
still
sir.
every day I think uh I got crucified for calling that show the Mad Hatter Show when I first
Really?
started by the listeners, because it seemed to be very ego driven. Like, why he gonna call the show the Mad Hatter Show? Because
What?
they had another morning host. They really liked Matt, what that person had done, and
Yeah.
and I knew that was going to happen. That there was going to be it was going to be upsetting to the radio listeners. Of course, they were familiar with me, but just to go on and it's like, okay, no, we're not calling this that name. We're going to use my name for the show. There was a little, it was a little abrasive at first,
Yeah.
a month or two later, though, after they became okay with the idea. And I still salute you for that. I think the smartest thing I've ever done in my career, if I've never listened to anybody, I remember I was walking and talking to you wherever it was, and you said, "Hey, man, whatever you do, you call the show by your name." And
That's right.
you were emphatic about it. You were
Yeah.
not changing on that. There wasn't a thought about it. And even after I hung up, I was still contemplating, like, I can't call this the Mad Hatter Morning Show.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do this. And then something said,
Yeah.
if you get fired or decisions have to be made, what name you want on this show? Do you want them to know that you were on the show, or you want to just be some miscellaneous guy and not have a career? And because of that, literally
Mhm.
on this radio station for years, that name has been promoted by that brand for two plus decades.
Wow.
That
Branding like a mug.
Yeah, man, you can't
Change
buy
the place
that.
that
You
brand.
can't you can't. So I will survive in this market for at least the
Oh,
next couple of years, no matter
oh
even
yeah.
if I
No, at
don't do
least
anything. So I
right.
commend,
Right.
man,
Your name
Roy,
will
for you
live
telling me that, man.
forever. Your
If you
name will
didn't
live
tell me that,
forever.
I would have did something dumb and said it the morning crew, and no telling where my career would be
Hey,
today.
but let me say congratulations to you to make the Texas Radio Hall of Fame.
Oh wow.
Wow.
That's
Man, that is man, you know some look, brother, some of the people that's in there that you're in company with, that says a lot about your talent. So congratulations to
Thank
you.
you.
A lot of DJs will aspire. I know you didn't seek that,
No,
but your talent made them recognize you. So that is a oh man, what a great honor to be recognized in the Hall of Fame of a great state like Texas for radio, which has some of the most profound, prolific radio personalities in the history of
this
radio.
is true.
So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
beautiful, man.
But like I
Wow.
said, what I walked away with from all this, not just this, but just from you, like I said, just staying humble. It's funny when you said you started like that, because I got that from your demeanor. You were always humble. You were always giving. Because I mean, we were just like snotty nosed kids, basically. Like he was already the morning man in the city here. Hey, come on, man, tell me anything. We were stupid kids.
But that
But
was
you
my
took,
first.
but you
That was my first
always,
morning gig.
but you were so respectful, because I'll be honest with you, there were other people at the time, Mr. Murphy, that were not very people always felt, I think in this business it's funny, somebody always think that you're after theirs, so
Wow.
they weren't really giving information to tell you about how to be a better jock. And like
Yeah.
I said, there were certain people in my past that were gracious people, and I mean, and I'm not mad at the ones that were not, but I'm just saying the ones
Yeah.
that were very gracious, and not that you just taught being humble, but you're
Yeah.
the way you were as a person, you were always humble. You gave the information that we asked for, that we were seeking. I still don't even remember how I met you, how I got into a radio station to even talk to you, the times that I did anyway. But you were very gracious with us, and you could have been one of those arrogant morning men that, hey kid, I don't got
Mm.
time to talk to you. Get the F out of my
Wow.
face. And a lot of
That's
them, let's
crazy.
be honest, especially during that time, a lot of
Yeah.
them they were. It's just what the
Yeah.
game
A
was
lot
at
of them.
that particular time. Those guys were at the
Yeah.
top, or we felt they were at the top, and we were these kids trying to come up. But you were always gracious, and because of you, and then another brother by the name of Rick Party,
Yes.
he had wrote me. We we've never really talked long to each other, but he had always told me, "Man, you're good. Just
Yeah.
remember, work hard, stay humble." To this day, I
That's
still
right.
have that piece of paper that he wrote that on.
Wow.
That's what
Wow.
I've marketed my whole life
Yeah.
in my radio career. It was always to be humble. So I don't know any other way to be. It's hard for me to eat. Like when you say something nice about me, my brain is erasing it. It just has a hard
Well,
time being
well, we're
nice.
not constructed to take praise. So you give it back to God every time, and He remains keeps you humble,
Yes, sir.
and that's why good things happen to you because you're humble. The scripture doesn't say blessed are the arrogant; it says blessed are the meek. You know what I'm saying? So Um, and then it says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the kingdom of God."
Yeah.
So, arrogant people in this business, I work with. I can tell you, I tell you a story, real quick story about Tom Joyner, right? When Tom was doing the what's the thing they were doing
The boat
the
cruise
Sky
did?
Show,
Scotch.
well,
Okay.
the Sky Show, yeah. And when he come to Charlotte, man, I would try to get off the air early so I can go and see him at the place he was being at, right? Because Tom's our hero, right? And I walk up to Tom, I position myself when he was going around the crowd, and I positioned myself so Tom could see me. Hey Tom, what's up, BJ, man? He looked at me and said, "What's up, man? What you doing here?" And he kept shaking everybody else's hands. I was like, "Oh man, what did he Tom diss me like that? I get off the air to come pay tribute to him in my city." And but I realized what he was saying. He was like, "Nigga, what you doing here? You supposed to be competing against me. you know, you know, I wouldn't be here in line with you. I'd be trying to be, you know what I'm saying?" And I said, I took it personal for a while, and then I really understood the competitive nature of Tom Jones. I said, "Wow,
Right.
he's right.
Looking at you
He's
like the
right."
competition. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
experience with Tom, and it's not a good one, so I won't speak
Okay.
on it. But I
Okay.
do. But
Okay.
I respect his career and what he's done
Yeah.
for Black jocks, and so I will always respect his lineage and what he's passed down to
I'm
all of us. But I did have we had
really.
we had a interesting run in, and not on purpose. I think it was accidental, and so I am forgiving in that way. But I don't.
Yeah.
You
Okay. Okay. Hey, let me tell you something. Walt Baby Love one time. You remember Sam Weaver, right?
Yes, I did. I remember
Sam
Sam Weaver,
Sam Weaver had him
program
on the phone
director.
one day. We was at QMG, right? And I had sent Walt Baby a tape of mine, and Sam had him on the phone. I was excited to hear it. Say, "Walt, this is BJ Murphy. Did you hear my tape like that?" He said, yeah, yeah, you'll never be a morning man, that's for sure. I mean, I think you should try this." I was like, "Oh man, he just took the sale." But I use him as fuel for my fire. I use him as fuel for my fire. I said, "Who
Well,
the hell you
was it
think?"
arrogance? Did he really believe that you
Right?
did?
Yes,
What do you think?
it
Or
was arrogant.
you think it was
He
arrogance?
he said I didn't have the sound of a major market talent, and I would never be a morning man. That's what he said.
Jeez. These guys have a way. That's one thing I never wanted to do, man. Even with music, when you're DJ, everybody still wants you to play their music as well. I will never criticize to this day. I don't tell anybody. I could think that the song is terrible to me, but what I always tell them, it really doesn't matter to me. It matters to you, and it matters to the person listening. Because
Yeah,
certain songs, let's be honest, there's songs that we've played that we thought was hot garbage, but
yeah,
the world thought that song was the greatest thing they ever heard. So
yeah,
I tell them, hey man, if you love what you love what you do, you follow your passion, and if you do those things, generally money will follow you and your passion.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I still have a
That's
hard
great.
time just straight criticizing. I'm not really good at that.
Yeah.
Even with my kids, one of my kids, she writes, and
Okay.
it's not my thing, but what
Yeah.
she's writing. But I tell her, you do what you do. I
Yeah.
said, do you love doing that? Yes. Does it make you feel good? Yeah. Do you think other people would like to read what you're writing? Yeah. Well, keep doing you, buddy.
That's
I
right.
said,
That's
my
right.
job is to support you no matter what. I'm gonna be in the
Yeah.
balcony. If you're a writer, if you play ball, my job as a parent is to be in the balcony seat and go,
Yeah.
all right. No
Yeah.
matter
Yeah.
if I understand it or not, no matter what you do, though, my job is to be on your side, make sure that you get to the race line where you finish the cross, and hopefully you finish in first place. So
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it.
Hey, let me tell you one thing that I like that I saw on the video you did with the students. You did a video like maybe this past week or last week when they had you in the studio
Oh, you talking about at
at the radio station.
KTSU?
Yeah, and I love the way they reacted because they were asking you questions and they had so much respect for you and your advice. And those people around you, they love radio. I could tell they really want to know about
Those are
radio.
people.
What?
That's the college radio station. They just actually work there. They're actually adults. They just have shows on, and they asked me
Okay.
to come on to talk about things after I had walked away from radio. I don't think they thought that I would, but I was comfortable there. And this guy, he wants to be a DJ. So he's like, hey man, will you come on
Yeah.
my show? Sure, why not? So I did. And they were very gracious. They are very gracious. You know, like I said, I've worked in this
Yeah,
city for a long time, BJ. So you know how it
yeah,
is when you work somewhere for a long time. You look at yourself one way, but let's be honest, everybody else looks at you,
yeah,
BJ, like me when I'm talking to you.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You're always the morning man, BJ Murphy. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So you always
yeah,
get respected as that guy that I grew up to while I was going to college that was helping me to transform into whatever I would become later on in life. You know,
yeah.
so I don't know.
Wow.
But I
Well, I
appreciate that,
always
man.
knew you were
Thank
gonna
you.
be a. I know. I always knew you were gonna be a star, man. I always told you that before. I said, man, you're a major market DJ, and these offers came through. You picked Houston. You picked the right city. You picked the right. Everything was just perfect of the 20-year run that you had. What I would like for all of us to teach, man, the young cats, is to save their money and just do exactly what you did is the right way to do it because you don't want to squander opportunity because people think that in radio entertainment, it's up and then it's down,
Yes, sir.
ebb and flow, and I don't think people, young cats like around Charlotte, I begged them, please, please, y'all. I think sometimes people think you play hate them too when you try to give people advice and stuff, especially these
Gotta
young
watch. You
cats,
gotta
man.
watch and you give advice to. Absolutely. I'm a
Yeah,
big that also. Well, I'll say this: like I'm a big proponent of saving.
yeah,
And I think people who've listened to me over the years, they know I'm about my cash.
yeah,
And I think what really helped me, Mr. Murphy, in this industry, I never worried if you were a morning man making more money.
yeah,
The only thing that always mattered to me is if they come to me and say, well, Hatter, we can give you this much money. And if I thought it was unreasonable, I said, come on, man, I know y'all can do better than that.
yeah, yeah.
And as my negotiate, I've never negotiated all these years. I never
Right.
worried about what Tom was making and what that guy was making and what this guy was making. I just
Yeah,
wanted you to give me what I thought was fair for me, even if it was less than what the other guys were making. But if I
yeah,
thought it was fair
exactly.
and that I could live on that comfortably in my community, I'm
Yeah,
cool as long as you're not
yeah.
disrespecting me. And almost every single time they were like, all right, Hatter, just will you sign a contract? Yeah, man, just change the numbers a little bit, man. Let's do this thing, keep the party
That's
moving. And
right. That's right.
I've made those kind of decisions over the year. And I think that probably because I wasn't over there making $1 billion a year, I think that probably helped to sustain you over all the.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
and because that, and that was always my mentality too. But number
Yeah.
one, it was always about saving
Yeah.
from I mean, even when I was in college,
Mm.
during that time when I was around you, all that money when I was working those 6 jobs, putting myself through college,
Yeah.
I still put money in savings. I used
Go
to buy
ahead.
savings bonds at the time, but,
Wow.
but the majority went there. I paid off the bills, and then I said, I probably won't eat that well this week.
That's right. That's right.
So, you find you a couple of girls that'll hook you up with a couple of meals. You know how I go in college.
Yeah.
You find the nice ones that'll make sure that you get something to eat and you just keep it moving. But
Yeah.
I've always
That's
done
right.
that. And it's probably that one thing. There's a couple of things, like I said, name a show, always
Yeah.
saving. Those things probably help set me up. And, just making decisions not based on wanting to be that guy. I was,
Yeah.
we get, you know how it is, you get offers to go to this city and do this and do that. And I always said, I'm comfortable where I am, making what I am. Unless somebody can
Yeah.
really make me an offer that I just can't refuse, I
Yeah.
would refuse those offers. And I think after a while, after probably up until maybe the last 10 years, people really stopped asking me to go to cities because they like,
Share, share with us.
Hatter ain't leaving.
Share with us a couple of opportunities you had.
PGC with Jay when he was there. I told him,
Oh, wow.
I thought Jay hated me for years until he started working for Radio One and we had a conversation. But I
Yeah.
told him no. I told everybody no. I had a chance to go to BLS when the Sutton
Oh,
brothers
wow.
owned BLS. I won't go into detail in the story because
Yeah.
some supply stuff happened with them, not me. But
Yeah.
I made a decision that probably was not going to be a place for me to go. The unique thing about New York radio, though, soon as you go
Yeah.
on the air, if you've been anywhere in this country, if you go
Yeah.
on the air in New York, they know who you are. That particular
yeah.
time when I
Wow.
went on the air, I opened the mic, I did one break. The phone lines went crazy.
Farm lit up. What?
Yeah. Man, what you doing in New York, baby? What you doing, man? We over here in Queens. And so I started getting all
What?
these calls. I'm like, New York is going to
Wow.
be great. Because they
Yeah,
already,
yeah, yeah.
because you forget how many people live in this place. So
Yeah, yeah.
immediately you would have,
Wow.
it was a city that could work for you. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
there were some other things
yeah.
that told me were not going to work for me. So that was
Right.
not the way for me. But yeah, everybody, the LAs, the Phillies,
Wow.
New York, the DCs, just it wasn't in the cards
Man.
for me, man. But let me tell
Yeah.
you something. Houston is my home and has been very good to me.
Mm. Yeah,
It's grown me as a man. It's made
yeah,
me who I've become. And I just, honestly, I couldn't imagine I couldn't, God was good to me, man. He made sure that
yeah.
I made the right decision. Some of my personal
Man.
life decisions, that probably was kind of crappy. But as far as
Okay.
business with money and job stability, God, he put it on. He put
Wow.
something in me to set me straight. So, but I appreciate all
Wow.
of you guys. You really helped me to
Yeah, man.
become
We
who I
appreciate
become.
you,
So,
man.